What if we told you that some of the biggest fast food chains in America might not make it to next year? We're not talking about obscure diners or tiny mom and pop burger joints. We're talking about names you grew up with: Subway, Boston Market, Checkers, Hearty Sits, even Popeyes. The places that felt like part of your daily life, your first job, your go-to comfort meal, that booth where you laughed with friends. Now, they're in serious trouble. Costs are skyrocketing, franchise models are breaking down, and younger generations, they want more quality, more speed, more vibe, and they're walking away from the brands that can't keep up. This isn't just about food, it's about a cultural shift, a fading era of American life. And some of these chains might not survive it. Everything you're about to see is backed by public data, news sources, and real-world reports. No hype, just hard truths. So, are you ready to see which 15 fast food giants are crumbling in 2025? Let's get into it. When you think of fast food in America, there's one name that still flashes first: McDonald's. That glowing golden arch once stood for something more than burgers. It meant a break after a long day, a treat after school, a shared table on a weekend with family. It was simple, familiar, and comforting. But in 2025, that feeling is harder to find. Yes, the arches are still there. The buildings still carry that familiar red and yellow. But walk inside, and it feels like a relic dressed in modern clothes. Prices have soared to the point of disbelief. A Big Mac combo can now run you $15. That sip's no longer cheap. It's a luxury many working Americans can no longer justify. Inside, the warmth is gone. The human touch is replaced by blinking kiosks. Tables sit empty under LED lights. The fries come out limp. The burgers feel smaller. And the food that once brought a moment of joy now feels rushed and soulless. McDonald's used to be for everyone, for workers on break, for students after night class, for kids with sticky fingers and big smiles, but now it sits out of reach for some and out of style for others. Gen Z. The next big wave of customers is walking right past it. They want something fresher, cleaner, more meaningful. They want food that reflects their values: sustainability, health, individuality. So they choose places like Chipotle, Sweet Green, Shake Shack, places where the menu feels alive and the message feels honest. And McDonald's? It's stuck, clinging to an old formula while the world moves on. By the end of 2024, over 500 McDonald's stores across the U.S. had shut their doors. Many of them in the same working-class neighborhoods that once made the brand what it was. Now those communities are left without even that small comfort dot. The truth is, McDonald's may not vanish tomorrow. It's too big for that. But something more important is slipping away: the connection, the meaning, the place it once held in American life. McDonald's still exists. But the McDonald's sits we loved? That might already be gone. Kentucky Fried Chicken. The name alone used to mean something. The man with the white suit, the black tie, the soft southern drawl, and of course those famous 11 herbs and spices. It was more than fast food. It was tradition. It was comfortable. It was fried chicken royalty. But fast forward to 2025, and the Colonel's empire is slipping. The signs are everywhere. More stores are closing their doors. Sales are slowing down, and with chicken prices climbing and wages going up, the profit just is not there anymore. The pandemic hit hard, but what followed hit even harder, changing what people eat, how they order, and where they want to spend their money. And while others adapted, KFC has been dragging its feet. The vibe that once made it special now feels flat. Customers say it all the time. The food is okay, but the spark is missing. It feels generic, forgettable. Meanwhile, Chick-fil-A is building a fan base that is loyal to the core: clean dining rooms, friendly staff, mobile ordering that just works. They made fast food feel modern, And Popeyes, they shook the industry with one spicy chicken sandwich and have not slowed down since. They are bold, they are loud, and people are showing up. And KFC? It is still hanging on to the old playbook. The menu barely changes. The stores look tired. There is no buzz, no edge, no sense that something new is coming. In a world where food is becoming faster, healthier, and more adventurous, KFC is stuck playing catch-up in more and more cities. KFC is no longer where people go first. It is what they settle for. And if things keep heading in this direction, the original king of fried chicken might not just lose the crown, it might disappear from the throne entirely. There was a time when picking Subway felt like making a smart choice. It was the place you went when you wanted something lighter, something fresher. You could skip the deep-fried everything and pile your sandwich high with vegetables, feeling like you were at least trying to eat well. It was fast food with a halo. But now, Subway is slowly vanishing, and most people don't even realize it. Think about it. When was the last time you actually craved Subway? Not just settled for it, but really looked forward to it. That pause says a lot. Because while the brand used to be everywhere, at its peak over 27,000 locations in the US, by the end of 2024, it had dropped below 20,000. And the closures keep coming. So what went wrong? Let's start with the food. A decade ago, a foot-long turkey sub seemed like a healthy win. But the world has changed. People are reading labels. They want clean ingredients, fresh produce, less processing. Meanwhile, Subway is still relying on the same old ingredients: soggy tomatoes, iceberg lettuce, cold cuts from the freezer, the kind of sandwich you eat and forget about 5 minutes later. Then came the scandals. The one in Ireland where courts said Subway's bread had too much sugar to legally be called bread, and of course the long shadow of Jared Fogle. For a brand built so heavily on trust, those blows cut deep in America. Once that trust is broken, it rarely comes back. But even beyond the food and the headlines, there is something else. The experience. Walk into a Subway today, and it often feels sterile. Narrow spaces, harsh lighting. Staff who look like they are racing through an assembly line. No warmth, no personality. And worse, the bread looks smaller, the portions thinner. Everything just feels less. Meanwhile, other sandwich shops are stepping up. Panera, Jersey Mike Sits, Firehouse Subs. They are cozy. They are modern. They make you feel like you are not just grabbing food, but taking a break. Subway, by contrast, feels stuck, like it forgot to evolve. Once it was the go-to for office workers and students alike. Affordable, reliable, familiar. But now with every closed store, it takes a little bit of that world with it. The quick lunches, the late night stops, the after-class hangouts. One day you might walk by the spot where your local Subway used to be and see an empty window with a faded for lease sign. That quiet moment might hit you harder than expected, because it is not just about losing a sandwich shop. It is about watching a piece of everyday American life quietly fade into memory. Burger King used to mean something. The flame-grilled Whopper, the have it your way slogan, the sense that you actually had a choice in a world of predictable burgers. It stood for personality, for boldness, for going toe-to-toe with the golden arches and not blinking. Fast forward to now, and the energy has drained out of it. Stores sit quietly on the edge of town, signs faded, drive-thrus half empty. You pass by and barely register it anymore. Maybe a lone delivery driver waits inside. Maybe the lights are off. Maybe the whole building is shuttered. In the last 2 years alone, more than 400 Burger King locations across the U.S. have closed their doors. Some regions, especially in the South and Midwest, have seen sales plummet by 30%. But this is not just about economics. It is about a brand that lost its voice. The menu, stuck in the past. The Whopper is still the Whopper. even as diners chase variety, new flavors, and ingredients that feel real and fresh. Burger King keeps reheating old ideas, hoping nostalgia can carry the weight of modern expectations, and the stores themselves feel frozen in time. Outdated decor, dim yellow lighting, worn-out furniture. The vibe is not vintage, it is just tired. The kind of place you go when every better option is closed. Service has slipped too, not everywhere, but often enough to notice, inconsistent. Robotic. There, quote, s a sense that no one's really trying anymore, and in a world where people expect to be treated like actual customers, that matters. While competitors are evolving, offering better food, sleek environments, smoother mobile apps, Burger King seems unsure of what it wants to be. It is not the budget leader. It is not the quality leader. It is not the service leader. So what is it? The truth is, it is fading from the conversation. People are not angry. They are indifferent. They forget to consider Burger King because the brand no longer gives them a reason to remember. It used to be second only to McDonald's sips. It is falling off the map, and if something big does not change, Burger King's story might quietly end with a whisper, not a bang. There was something magical about walking into a Pizza Hut as a kid. The dim yellow lighting, the deep red booths, the checkerboard tablecloths, and that smell of fresh pan pizza drifting out of the kitchen. For a whole generation, it was the go-to spot for birthday parties, post-game celebrations, and Friday night dinners with family. Pizza Hut was never just about pizza. It was an experience. It was warm, familiar, and comforting, a piece of everyday American life that somehow felt special. But that version of Pizza Hut is slipping away fast. By 2025, the transformation is hard to ignore. The dine-in locations, once the heart of the brand, are vanishing. Between 2017 and 2024, over 500 Pizza Hut branches shut down across the country. In places like Ohio, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, where it once felt like there was a Pizza Hut on every other corner, only a handful of carry-out counters remain. So what went wrong? In short, the brand stopped evolving. While Domino's became a delivery tech giant, and upstarts like Blaze and MOD Pizza started letting customers build fresh, made-to-order pies in minutes, Pizza Hut got stuck. Not quite a restaurant anymore, not quite a delivery powerhouse either, just somewhere in the middle. Big dine-in stores are expensive to run. But when you pair high rent with slow traffic and an aging business model, it is a recipe for decline. Even the menu, once known for pan pizzas and stuffed crusts, feels like a time capsule. Meanwhile, consumers today want choices. They want cauliflower crusts, spicy toppings, gluten-free options, vegan cheese, and Pizza Hut still thinks combo deals are enough. While others lean into app-based convenience and lean operations, Pizza Hut is dragging its feet. Its takeout feels like an afterthought. Its branding feels tired, and worst of all, the cozy family atmosphere that made it so beloved, gone. For many families, Pizza Hut used to be the easy answer. Today, it is a fallback. A place you settle for, not a place you choose. The brand that once served memories in red-roof buildings now pushes coupons through emails in hopes someone still cares. And without bold, immediate change, not just in food but in vision, Pizza Hut will keep shrinking, quietly, like leftovers cooling on a counter, slowly losing their flavor, one forgotten slice at a time. If McDonald's wears the crown and Burger King plays the scrappy rival, then Wendy's used to be the dependable friend. Not the flashiest, not the loudest, but solid. A place you could count on for a hot, juicy burger that felt a little more real, a little more honest. That first bite of a Dave Sits single, with its signature square patty and fresh toppings, it meant something. And their old slogan, "Quality is our recipe," was more than just words. It was a promise. Wendy's had a reputation for being straightforward, reliable, and just clever enough to stay cool. Remember when their Twitter account went viral for roasting everyone? It was fresh. It was bold. It made Wendy's feel like the brand that actually got its audience. But in 2025, something is different. The numbers are telling a quiet story. Sales in the U.S. have dipped for 3 straight quarters. Hundreds of locations are quietly shutting down, especially in lower-income neighborhoods where Wendy Sips was once part of the daily routine, where there used to be 2 or 3 Wendy Sips across town. Now there might be just one, and it is barely hanging on. So what happened? Well, for starters, the price tag. A combo that once felt affordable now costs double digits in many cities. A simple lunch feels like a luxury. For families trying to keep the lights on, Wendy's is no longer a casual treat. It is a hard choice between a burger and a gallon of gas. The physical spaces are falling behind too, while competitors like Shake Shack or Culver Sits create sleek, inviting dining spaces with a modern vibe. Many Wendy's still look like something out of an early 2000s travel plaza. No warmth, no buzz, just cold booths and fluorescent lights. Even the customer experience, once a point of pride, is faltering. More people are walking away with the wrong orders, lukewarm fries, and staff who seem just as tired as the brand itself. When quality slips and service follows, people stop caring. Wendy's used to be the place that felt a little better than the rest. Better ingredients, better values, better service. But now, it is fading into the background. Not because of scandal, not because of outrage, but because of something more dangerous: indifference. Without a real pivot, with fresh thinking, updated spaces, better training, and more value, Wendy's will not vanish overnight. It will just keep slipping out of the spotlight, not gone, but no longer in the conversation. And in the world of fast food, once people stop talking about you, you're already halfway out the door. In 2019, people were literally throwing punches over a chicken sandwich. Blinds wrapped around the block. Stores ran out before noon. That one spicy sandwich turned Popeyes from a quiet underdog into a fast food phenomenon. For a moment they were everywhere, on the news, in memes, in everyday conversations. It felt like they had finally made it. But now, that fire is fading fast. After hitting a high in 2020, Popeyes has lost nearly 1 in 5 of its regular customers. More than 200 locations have either shut their doors or are barely hanging on, especially in the very communities that made the brand what it was, working-class neighborhoods where a filling meal still needs to be affordable. So what went wrong? Well, success hit fast, and Popeyes was not ready for it. When the spotlight turned on, cracks started to show. Some locations served fresh, hot meals, others, long waits, cold fries, wrong orders. Customers started rolling the dice every time they walked through the door, and people do not keep gambling with their lunch money. Worse, they bet everything on that one sandwich. There was no follow-up, no exciting new item to keep people coming back. Chick-fil-A kept growing by staying consistent. Raising Cane Sips came in with a simple model and nailed it. Meanwhile, Popeyes just coasted on past hype. That next big thing, energy, wore off. And customers started noticing things they had overlooked before: understaffed stores, poor service, food that sometimes just did not hit the mark. Some locations look worn down. Others are ghost towns during lunch hours. And when even the deals don't feel like deals anymore, people walk away. Popeyes used to be the go-to for a quick, cheap, filling meal. It was fuel for drivers between shifts, comfort for students between classes. It meant something to a lot of people. But now those doors are closing, and what's left behind is more than just an empty storefront. It is a sign that the fast food world is changing. The middle and working class, the ones who kept Popeyes alive, are being priced out, overlooked, or simply not being served well anymore. You might try to explain the frenzy to someone younger, how people lost their minds over a chicken sandwich. And they still probably just blink at you, confused, because for them Popeyes will be just another name that faded after its 15 minutes. If the brand doesn't figure out how to grow beyond a viral moment, that is all it will ever be, a flash in the fryer, gone before it really had a chance to last. Boston Market used to feel like a shortcut to home. A place where you could sit down to a plate of rotisserie chicken, mashed potatoes, and cornbread, and almost trick yourself into thinking someone had made it just for you. It was comfort food without the mess in the kitchen, warm, familiar. A break from the noise and grease of typical fast food. But now, try finding a Boston Market near you. It has become something of a relic. Once boasting over 1,100 locations across the country, the brand is now down to fewer than 300 and shrinking by the month. Some cities that once had multiple locations now have none. Some people genuinely believe the company went out of business years ago. So how did something so beloved fade so quietly? Part of it is pace. Boston Market never figured out how to keep up with a world that got faster and more demanding. Customers want transparency now, clean ingredients, streamlined service. They want to order from an app, pick up at a kiosk, and feel like they made a healthy choice, or at least one that fits their lifestyle. Boston Market, with its slower model and dated interiors, just never evolved with the times. Frequent changes in ownership only made things worse. The brand never had time to steady itself. Every few years came a new vision, a new strategy, a new leadership team trying to patch up holes without fixing the foundation. And then the pandemic hit, and the fragile model cracked. While places like Panera, Sweetgreen, and even warehouse food courts adapted and thrived, Boston Market froze. It was too slow to be fast food and too old school to be fresh casual. So it ended up in a no man's land, the kind of place people pass by, unsure if it's still open. But here's the thing. Boston Market wasn't just about the food. It was about what the food meant. It meant you had a place to go when no one felt like cooking. It meant Sunday dinners without the cleanup. It meant something warm in the middle of a hard week. For so many families, it was part of the rhythm of everyday life. And now, as stores go dark and signs come down, something more than a business is disappearing. We're watching a piece of American comfort slip away, not with drama, not with headlines, just quietly, the way things do when we sometimes are all too busy to notice. One day someone will drive past an empty lot and remember, there used to be a Boston Market right there. And in that small moment, they so feel the gap left behind, not just in the food landscape, but in the story of how we used to live. If you grew up on the West Coast, California, Arizona, Nevada, there's a good chance Jack in the Box was part of your late-night routine. It was the go-to spot when nothing else was open, the reliable place to grab a quick bite, no matter the hour. The midnight savior, some used to call it. But now, in 2025, things feel different. Jack in the Box is still there, sure. The signs still glow. But the question quietly creeping into people's minds is this: does anyone actually choose it anymore? Over the past couple of years, their revenue has dropped almost 10%. Stores that once packed the suburbs, places where fans swore by their tacos or quirky sandwiches, are closing, or just barely hanging on. The buzz just isn't there. So what went wrong? Jack was once praised for its bold, sometimes strange menu ideas. But now that same creativity feels scattered, inconsistent. One day the food is okay, the next day it's disappointing. Service quality swings wildly depending on location. And in a world where fast casual restaurants have raised the bar with fresh ingredients, welcoming spaces, and clear values, Jack in the Box seems lost without a real game plan. Gen Z, the biggest food spenders right now, want something more than fast and cheap. They want clean labels, plant-based choices, and brands that take care of the planet. Jack's menu doesn't speak to that. Instead, it leans into weird commercials and complicated offerings that confuse more than excite. Meanwhile, In-N-Out sticks to its simple, flawless menu and keeps fans coming back. Whataburger leans into its southern roots and grows strong. Jack? It's just there, a name you scroll past on delivery apps without a second thought. There was a time when Jack in the Box was the quick stop that kept your day moving. Now it sets more like background noise. A brand you remember, but don't really choose anymore. For a lot of Americans, Hardee's was more than just a fast food joint. It was the spot where you felt a little bit fancy, biting into a burger stacked with both egg and bacon, a small upgrade to the usual. It was comfort, familiarity, and a taste of something extra. But by 2025, Hardee's Sips is staring down some tough times. In the last 5 years alone, they shut more than 200 locations, and revenue keeps sliding. The brand just hasn't kept pace with what customers want these days. The quality? Pretty much the same. The vibe? Stuck somewhere in the past. Meanwhile, competitors are sprinting ahead, investing in fresh ingredients, sustainable sourcing, and sharper branding. Hardee's feels like it's lost its touch, unable to reinvent itself in a world that's moved on. Since merging with Carl Sips Jr., the strategy has been all over the place. They tried new things, big breakfast sandwiches, oversized burgers, but none of it has been enough to compete with fast casual chains where freshness and quality are king. For folks who grew up with Hardee's, especially in small towns, where it was one of the only fast food options, it's hard not to feel a pang of loss. Those family dinners, those late-night hangouts, they're now just old photos and memories. Passing by a shuttered Hardee's, with its faded sign and darkened windows, you get hit by that bittersweet nostalgia. A brand that once stood tall in the fast food world is quietly slipping into the past, like an era we all thought would last forever, but didn't. Even the newcomers once hailed as the fresh faces of fast food, places like Five Guys and Shake Shack, are starting to buckle under the weight of a changing world. It's not that the burgers suddenly taste worse, it's that the world around them has shifted, fast and hard. So what's going on? There sits no single cause. It sits a storm of pressures all hitting at once. Labor costs are up, inflation is high, and prices are rising across the board. That extra $1 or $2 on a combo meal. For many working-class families, that makes all the difference. Suddenly, what was once a weekly habit becomes a rare treat. Then there are the supply chain issues. One week, they're out of lettuce. Next week, it's sets buns. And when consistency goes out the window, so does trust. Meanwhile, the younger generation, Gen Z and millennials, are not looking for the same things their parents did. They want fresh food. They want transparency. They want to know where their food came from and what went into it. They're not just eating, they're making a statement. And many legacy chains? They're still stuck in the past. Outdated stores, generic menus, no app, no loyalty rewards, no plant-based options, no reason to come back. The franchise model, once the backbone of fast food expansion, is cracking. Independent operators are struggling to keep up, and corporate support isn't what it used to be. And in the age of DoorDash and Uber Eats, the winners are the ones who've mastered the tech game. Quick prep times, optimized kitchens, data-driven menus. The chains without that infrastructure, they're falling behind. What does all this mean? Fast food was once more than food. It was comfortable. It was routine. It was the smell of fries in the car on the way home, the sound of a drive-through speaker crackling late at night, the red booths where families sat after Little League games. Now, all of that is fading. By 2025, countless American towns no longer have a local burger spot, a reliable pizza joint, or the sandwich shop that knows your order by heart. Instead, there are dark windows for lease signs, hollow buildings where neon signs used to buzz. The cornerstones of daily life are disappearing, replaced by sleek ghost kitchens, or not replaced at all. This isn't just a shift in how we eat, it's a reflection of something deeper, a country in flux, a culture losing its casual gathering spaces, a society rethinking what matters and what sips worth saving. Fast food, for better or worse, helped define the American experience. And now, and as it fades, it leaves behind a question: what takes its place? It's a quiet truth, but a heavy one. The world is moving forward, and the fast food brands that once felt like part of the American fabric, the golden arches, the flame-grilled signs, the red trays stacked with crinkled wrappers, are slipping behind. These places were more than restaurants. They were rituals. McDonald's after school. Burger King on road trips, Boston Market on Sundays when nobody wanted to cook. They were woven into everyday life, part of a rhythm that felt simple, familiar, safe. But when prices creep higher and the experience stays the same or worse, declines, that bond begins to fray. And when a new generation looks at these brands and sees nothing that speaks to them, nothing that reflects their values or lives, the story begins to end. Because no matter how big your empire is, how many decades you stood, if people stop caring, if they stop remembering why they ever loved you, it all fades. Fast food in America is standing at a crossroads. Change or be quietly replaced. Rebuild something real, or become another empty lot and a forgotten jingle. And maybe the bigger question isn't set whether these brands can survive. It sets whether anyone truly wants them to. If the food no longer brings comfort, if the spaces no longer bring people together, if the culture is lost and only the logo remains, then what exactly are we holding on to? So tell us, which one of these places was once part of your life? Was it late-night fries with friends, a familiar voice at the drive-through window, that one meal that always hits the spot? Do you still go back? Or did you, like so many others, quietly stop without even realizing? Share your memories in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. Thank you for watching.